Hello to all my college football fanatics out there. Welcome to another segment of the Buckeye Vinny YouTube channel sports show. My friends, sit back, relax, and let's talk some college football. My friends, so far, what a season it has been already in college football 2024. But my big question out there is, how concerned should Coach Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs be after that loss to the Alabama Crimson Tide? Now, we're talking about a Georgia team that is 3-1 in the 2024 college football campaign. We're talking about a Georgia Bulldogs team that right now is currently ranked 5th in the country. But once again, my friends, back-to-back, very lethargic performances in the first half of, obviously, the Kentucky game, which I'm just going to say this, easily, Georgia right now could very easily be 2-2. Okay, I give a lot of credit to Coach Stoops over at Kentucky. I personally thought that Coach Stoops and the Kentucky Wildcats were able to expose the Georgia Bulldogs offense. I truly believe that. And when you stop and look at it, they were able to neutralize the Dogs' rushing attack. And actually, they did a nice job neutralizing Carson Beck in that game. So what I'm getting at is this. The Georgia Bulldogs the last 2 weeks have not been looking like the Georgia Bulldogs of 2021 and 2022 and even that 13-1 season just a year ago. I watched Georgia versus Alabama, and I seen very poor tackling. And the yard after catch for Alabama was amazing. Obviously, the game-winning touchdown strike from Milroe to Ryan Williams, somebody should have been able to at least tackle Williams instead of him able to run free down the sidelines for a 75-yard game-winning touchdown. Another thing, my friends, that I'm looking at, and Georgia Bulldogs, you are my dear friends. I love covering Dogs football. Is that, are you a little concerned that now this is back-to-back games that, let's be honest, I did not think Georgia played well. Yes, Georgia made a great comeback. I give them all the credit against Alabama and darn near pulled it out, but my friends, bottom line, they did not. It was a great second half for the Georgia Bulldogs against Alabama, but bottom line, they still lost that game 41-34. I stopped and looked at a few struggles so far this season for Georgia. The first struggle for Georgia is the third down struggles for this offense. We are talking about Georgia ranked 106 out of a possible 133 Division I college football schools, third down offense in the country. That is horrible, my friends. 106 out of 133 for a team that is ranked 5th in the country. When I stopped and looked at this, against Kentucky, Georgia was able to rush for 102 yards. Okay? Nothing to write home about. Then I stopped and looked just last week against Alabama in that thriller Saturday night. Georgia was only able to muster 80 yards rushing in the entire game. I stopped to look at Carson Beck. My friends, this is not the Carson Beck from a year ago. Carson Beck's stats against Kentucky, 15 out of 24. No touchdown passes. That's good for 63%. Against Alabama, it even got worse. 27 out of 50. That's good for only 54%. We are talking about a Carson Beck that last season completed 72% of his passes. And here's back-to-back games now that he did not play well at all. We are talking about Georgia versus Kentucky fumbled 3 times in that game. 3 turnovers. It's amazing that Georgia even won that game 13-12. And we're talking about 4 turnovers against Alabama. Beck threw 3 picks in that game and also a crucial fumble in that game. So let alone Beck turned the ball over 4 times versus Alabama alone. We're talking a Georgia team that has 7 turnovers in the last 2 games. My friends, bottom line, this is not characteristic of Coach Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs. It truly is not. Defensive-wise now, we're talking a defense that, yes, I thought the defense held up very well against Kentucky. Obviously, the defense won that game. Okay, only limiting Kentucky to just 4 field goals. Defensively, they gave up 170 yards rushing versus Kentucky. Against Alabama, the defense gave up 173 rushing yards versus Alabama. My friends, I'm doing quick math. 343 yards that Georgia's defense gave up in 2 games just in rushing to the opponents. Not good. Not good at all. Then I looked at why Georgia is always getting off to such a slow start in the beginning of the game. I stopped and looked. The first half versus Clemson. Now, yes, the Dogs went on to pound Dabo Swinney and Clemson, okay? Went on to pound them 34-3. But in the first half, the Dogs were only able to muster 2 field goals. If we all remember, the Dogs were just leading at half by a score of 6-0. That was anyone's game in the first half. The game against Kentucky, in the first half, Georgia was only able to muster up a field goal. And we all know that at halftime, Georgia was down in that game 9-3 versus Kentucky. And at halftime against Alabama, Georgia was only able to get a touchdown. So my friends, obviously, there's some issues going on at Athens, Georgia, without a doubt. You know, this is a football team that on paper is very talented, okay? You stop and look at their running backs. I still see that Trevor Etienne is still not playing like the Etienne that I remember a year ago when he played for the Florida Gators. 2 very good running backs, Robinsons, neither one of them have been able to perform to their level. And now what's questioning is that O-line not performing like they should? And then I look at Carson Beck. You know, a year ago, Carson Beck had no problem if the pocket broke down, him just taking off running. He never forced anything last year. He only threw 6 interceptions all of last year. My friends, he threw 3 picks against Alabama in just 1 game, 3. Turned the ball over 4 times in that game versus Crimson Tide. You're not going to win many games like that, my friends. 7 turnovers in the last 2 games. bottom line, there has to be some concerns if you are a Georgia Bulldog fan. Now, we all know Georgia this Saturday will be hosting the Auburn Tigers at Sanford Stadium. I do like Georgia to win this game, but, my friends, they need to establish that run. And obviously right now, they've yet to establish a good running attack. And so now all the pressure is being put on Carson Beck to throw the ball almost every down. My friends, he threw 50 times against Alabama. Why? Because they couldn't establish the run early on in that game. And what happened? Georgia fell behind very quickly, 30-7 at half. This is a team that is taking way too long to get that engine started. 6 points at half against Clemson. Only 3 points in the first half versus Kentucky. And just 7 points in the first half versus Alabama. Obviously, my friends, Coach Kirby's smart. I like the guy. He's a great coach. Very optimistic coach. But down deep, he has to be wondering the same thing I'm wondering. What is going on right now with Georgia? Their third down efficiency is not good. Not good. Georgia versus Alabama on third down, 3 out of 15. No wonder why they lost that game. Versus Kentucky on third down, 5 out of 13. My friends, normally they say you should be right around 60% on third down conversions. Wow. And versus Clemson, 4 out of 11 on third down conversions. Under 40%. So my friends, this is a big problem. Is their third down efficiency and the lack of them to get first downs. I've always said, if you can't pick up the first down, now here comes the punting unit, and you're giving the ball right back over to your opponent. Once again, this really jumped out at me. 3 out of 15 versus Alabama on third down conversions. 5 out of 13 against Kentucky. And yes, they pounded Clemson, but they pounded up in the second half 4 out of 11 on third down conversions. My friends, this is a big reason why the Georgia Bulldogs are ranked 106 out of a possible 133 on third down conversions. Without a doubt, there better be some changes when the Georgia Bulldogs get it on with the Auburn Tigers this Saturday at Sanford Stadium, Athens, Georgia. My friends, if you are new to my channel, thank you for tuning in. Please click on the subscribe button, always free. If you like this video, please click on the like button. And like always, please comment down below. Not only do I love reading your comments, but I love getting back to all of your comments. Like always, my friends, peace out. God bless. This is all Buckeye Vinny has for today. Until next time, Buckeye Vinny is out of here.